does that happen every time? Why do I do that every single time now? I always leave the little the starting soon is always left off.
It's like a good
You
luck
can't
charm
hear
at
us?
this point.
1 second, I don't think you can hear us.
That's not good.
You can't hear us? Can anyone else hear us?
Let me know if you're there.
Hold on. Speak, Justice?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're fine.
We're both fine, so I don't know
Can
what
you
Jack's
guys hear
talking
me?
about. Yeah, we can, but you can't hear us.
Weird.
Should probably get that fixed so we don't start shows like this, huh?
Huh?
But anyway, guys, we're here tonight for a quick
Testing
dip
one.
into the Conjuring universe. You know Justice and Big Drip. You know that he don't do the spooky scary, but we're here and we're doing it anyway.
And I'm shaking. I'm
And
shook.
he's shaking. He's shaking,
Look at
baby.
me. I'm shook.
But yeah, so I mean, have you seen these movies?
No. But so actually, I had a question. Now I know because I know this like whole thing is like it's pretty big. It's actually a big ass universe.
A big universe.
Big old universe. Insidious. This ties into Conjuring, correct? They all tie together.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I've seen.
Wait.
I believe that's the case.
No, not the Insidious.
I believe that's the case.
No, is it?
I believe so. I do.
Anyone in the comments, let
yeah.
us know. I think it's Conjuring,
Right.
Annabelle,
Right.
The Nun. Maybe
Right.
Insidious is
I
part
think
of it.
Insidious. I do. I think that's where it started, and then they went into, and then there's also that movie, The Nun. So they did that, Annabelle, and then the 2 Conjuring movies. Well, 3 now. So if I'm right, and Insidious is part of it as well, there's like 6 Insidious movies. So this universe is
It's giant.
Yo, it's the
giant.
MCU
Yeah,
of
it's
spooky
giant.
scary.
It's giant.
Spooky scary CU.
Yeah, so guys, before we get into the actual show, I know Jack's having a little technical difficulty, but and there he goes.
Just like that.
And
Poof.
there he goes. It's the wrong titles like
Let's,
on the bottom, but that's okay.
Let's just pray for Jack.
yeah,
Send him some get well soon.
Pray
cards.
for Jack. Pray for Jack. How you guys liking the new well, I mean it's not done yet, but
What?
it's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at it. Ready? You want to see something cool?
Yeah, it's the same thing as last time. Before we get
That
into
just
all that
blew your
stuff,
mind.
guys, as always, make sure to like the video. Make sure to like it. Crack the like button. Make me feel it in my spine, my core, my everything. And subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here. Welcome. Hello.
Welcome to the corner.
So happy to have you.
Mwah.
Smash that subscribe button. Become a member of the Pop Culture Corner.
What? Get you the
Like-
big drip special.
By clicking the join button below. We found out that it has to be on a browser. It can't be on your phone unless your phone is an Android.
Interesting.
But
hey,
that's
shout out
okay.
Androids.
yeah, that's
hey.
okay. Screw Android.
Haha, we're on top, baby.
Screw Android.
Score one me.
So yeah, so I mean, really though, welcome everybody, and we're gonna start talking about this Conjuring stuff because for anyone who doesn't know, we have a collaboration with Showcase Cinemas,
Hey.
and on Friday we're going to be doing all day coverage of the film from Showcase Cinemas, a live pre-show which will start at about 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard, and then a post-show. It will start around 2:30 p.m. We'll be doing the pre-show will be like speculation, and then the post-show will be like a review. So definitely join us for that. Those are some really fun shows. Always being at Showcase is a good time.
Love going to Showcase. They do all kinds of cool stuff for us. Last time we went, we saw we just kind of sat in the theater in like an IMAX theater, like they call it X Plus, right? It's a really nice theater with great stereo systems and an amazing screen. It looks awesome. But we went there and we just sat there and looked at a trash can on a screen for about an hour and 45 minutes. So the environment was cool. What was on the screen, not so much. But they gave us a Black Widow poster with the wrong date on it. And I think that's amazing. That's a great studio little add-on.
It's a big poster too. It's not like the little ones. It's like the giant movie theater-esque industrial ones.
Right.
So
the specials.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. I'll fix that for
Thank you. Thank you. There's a little wire situation. We got a lot going on. Thank you, sir. Very kind of you. So let's get back to the subject at hand.
So you haven't seen any of these?
No, but if that's why I had asked you about the Insidious, whether or not it does tie in, because I've seen a lot of those, and I have seen the.
So I'm actually not sure
Conjuring.
now that you say it. I'm not sure if Insidious is tied in, but it kind of would make sense, wouldn't it?
Right.
It would make sense. Does anyone know that? Because listen, horror is not my genre. Right. Horror is not my genre. I do see it for pleasure here and there. Like if a movie really stands out, I'll go see it as a horror movie. Like it's like an occasion for me, right? But horror isn't typically my go-to genre. So these movies like The Conjuring, like Insidious, like Annabelle, The Nun, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they're not necessarily my forte.
Right.
They're not.
Right. I do like the horror genre, but not in that sense, because they tend to just do the same thing over and over again. It's a bunch of jump scares, a bunch of howdy ho, Jack. It's a bunch of jump scares, a bunch of easy scares, right? Yeah. But I like slashers. I like movies. I think Halloween.
I think because those movies, you know what? Those movies, you know, like you tell us a story. I thought it was a really funny story. What?
No, they're not. I was wrong. Insidious is.
I was gonna say it's not right. It's definitely not a part of that.
But so what I'm thinking, Jack's here, he knows. So I think Sinister. Now, if I'm right,
no, Sinister's not
touch into this.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Sinister is not. Insidious, a lot of people think, because Insidious was James
Wan as well, and it's a similar style. Yeah,
similar style, because that was sort of the first, I guess you could say, kind of return to like a 70s horror style, like Amityville horror, that kind of old school PG-13 kind of horror, where like it's more about, it's not necessarily gory, but Insidious is not, because they have the same actor. What's his name? Patrick Wilson's in both.
That's what it was. Sense. That's what got me. You know,
but Annabelle, Curse of La Llorona, all them, The Nun, it's all one big universe.
That's part of it too.
So how many movies total are in this universe? So we have three
Conjurings, three Annabelles,
one Nun,
and Curse of La Llorona. So about eight.
Oh, jeez.
It's a pretty expanded
That's
universe,
phase one
man.
of the MCU.
That's pretty cool.
That's
though.
A lot.
Yeah. Who would have thought that like out of this horror, one-off horror movie that when it first came out, I didn't think they were going it didn't seem like there was going to be a next one.
Well, but that's classic throughout the horror genre in general. I mean, you look back in the day with the classics, every one of them has 15 of their own movies.
Yeah.
The Leprechaun has 7 movies, and I know for a fact that movie wasn't popular when it came out.
No. Yeah. In fact, well, here's the reason why. The Conjuring, what made this kind of different was that it made $320 million worldwide for a horror movie. Like even Halloween at its peak never made that kind of money. Halloween, even Saw, they were lucky if they got like 80 million.
Wait, I thought Saw completely broke the bank. No, I thought
so in totals it does, because there's like 10 films and each one of them made like 80 to 100 million. So it made good money, but it didn't make like blockbuster money. Like, you know what I mean? And also thinking Saw movies are cheap as hell to make. They cost like 4 million, 5 million to make. Same thing with Friday the 13th. They used to make like 20 million. That's it. Yeah. But they cost like $1 million.
So James Wan seems to be a director who can tackle these like universe kind of stories, right? Yeah. He knows how to make the puzzle pieces fit into like a coherent overall story. And take the horror aspect out of the movies, right? The Conjuring and all the other ones. You're left with a pretty decent, fun, like world, right? There's this world of spooky, scary. Like it's fun, it's cool.
Yeah.
And James Wan, that's why when they tapped him for Aquaman, I was super happy.
Right. But dude, it's such a weird jump though. I mean, he's done mainly horror throughout his career.
He did a Fast and Furious movie. I think that was like his test movie. Like he did the one where Paul Walker died. So that was like, all right, let's see how he does.
That was a big movie too. Everybody loved that movie.
7.
So, and I mean, clearly he does. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan, but clearly he does know what he's doing with Aquaman. They broke $1 billion, so clearly he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So maybe let's walk through the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Jack,
you want to walk us through the beginning.
Yeah.
So basically, he's an Australian director, but this is what made him big. It was Saw. That very first Saw movie he did, it kind of opened the door. Like, okay, and then obviously we know we did Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4. Now he didn't make all of them. I think he was always a producer. But that kind of got him banned because those movies earned money because they were low budget films. Like they weren't supposed to be big blockbusters, but you got 7 films in 10 years. They came out sequentially every year. You had a new Saw film, and then you ended technically with Saw 7. But then, I think that opened the door for him. And then he did Insidious. And Insidious was another one, low budget. He had, small story about a kid being possessed, blah, blah, blah. PG-13, so a lot of people saw it, but it actually got popular on Netflix. So it came out, made okay money, nothing big. But when it came out on Netflix, everyone was watching it. And that's when the first, Conjuring movie came out, you would see from the director of Insidious and Saw. Now he had a little bit of name recognition. It's like kind of like Chris Nolan back in the day, but from the director of Memento and The Dark Knight. They would put those in the beginning of the movie. Right. He sort of became a household brand. And this movie, the first Conjuring movie, I went to see it opening weekend. It was packed. And I think the funny thing is that the 2000s had been plagued with torture movies. And it's funny because Saw was one of them. Saw, Hostel. You had all these movies that were more gory and graphic. And people were like in the 90s, you had a ton of slasher movies. Like Scream came out, and then every other movie was a guy with a knife.
There was a lot of killing off screen. It wasn't on screen, slicing throats and whatnot. It was a lot of off screen killing.
Yeah, and then Conjuring comes out, and all of a sudden, he's a bankable director. Then they give him Insidious 2. They turned that into a franchise. I think there's 2, 3, 4 of those, 4 Insidious movies.
Dude, there's 6. It's a lot.
It was a lot, and people go out to see them, and I think they kind of like it. Also, they kind of play around with the whole based on a true story because they're based on actual files. Now, whether that actually happened the way it shows in the movie is probably not. Maybe something weird was going on, but I think there's a suspension of belief. People want to believe it seems spookier if you think it's a true story.
I would like to read those. I would like to get my hands on those and read that.
That's utter garbage, by the way. That the based on true files kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, listen, I'm the first one to say I believe there's something, right? But Jack said it's banking on that aspect in people's brains that they're tied. They want that to be real. They want to live in a world with a little bit of a
little something going on.
It's not so boring. Edge, but
an edge is a good word.
Yeah, they want to live a little bit on edge. And Ed and Lorraine, what is it, Warren?
Warren, yeah, Ed and Lorraine Warren, yeah.
Look up what people actually thought of them, and then come back to me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I say I want to read those files, because I can almost guarantee when they say based off a true story, they read the whole file, right? It's 27 pages long, or better yet, $2.99. Get that membership. Shameless plug. They read that whole thing, right? There's 299 pages, and there's one mention of I think I heard something fall down one random.
Oh no,
Tuesday
they were
night,
legitimate.
Bam, God, this is a true story. I'm gonna make a whole horror universe off of this.
Ed and Lorraine really they fabricated a lot. People think.
My point being, they exaggerate.
Yeah, the exaggeration factor is heavy there, but.
Heavy.
Ed and Lorraine would go into a place, go into a house where something happened, whatever, this dude murdered his wife, right? And they would claim that there was a bad spirit there, right? They would take a situation which probably just happened because someone went crazy, legit insane, and they slapped a demon tag on it.
Right. Yeah. All you have to do is find a
the Catholic Church has been doing this for years.
Of course, always. All you have to do is find a cold case, right? Preferably a murder, or it could be just a case of somebody, having a breakout of psychosis, whatever, something that wasn't solved, or has some question, a little bit of mystery behind it, not all the pieces are there. Bam, you got yourself a whole horror franchise.
Yeah.
Easy
peasy. The interesting part, one of the reasons I wasn't a huge fan, so this is Conjuring 2. They had very little to do with the actual event. So that event where it's set in England, right? And this girl there's a part of the movie where they show a TV crew coming and filming. That actually happened. And this girl was doing a demonic voice, and some people said, okay, it looks like she's kind of smiling. Maybe it was. Then there's a photo of her supposedly floating, and it's it looks like she's jumping. The only spooky thing that was legit or kind of legit was that 2 cops came. They show this in the movie, and a chair moved on its own. That was the only thing, a third party source was like, okay, we saw something spooky. And, I've talked to people who've experienced like, who talk about paranormal stuff. It's never like as violent as in the movies. It's always something that either can be explained, like, bad pipe that's banging.
I got a couple stories under my belt.
But it's never like, they come at you. But then again, the movie would be boring if there wasn't someone like attacking you or choking you or grabbing you or like,
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's necessary.
It's again,
and I'm fine with it. I'm like, make it as spooky as you want. I know it's not a true story. Like maybe some Cup family somewhere experienced something fake or real. Make a movie out of it,
Yeah. I'm all for entertainment. Don't get me wrong. Just don't like the people that are like, no, these are factual events. It's like, bro,
that's how it happened.
Like the whole Valak thing. Like they introduced the nun, Valak the nun. We jokingly the other day said it was Justice and Drag, but there we go. That's that's a completely made up thing. There was no one ever saw a nun. No one ever saw a nun or was like, oh, we saw. They use that to bridge the movies together because they show the nun in The Conjuring, then she shows up, obviously in The Nun, and it was a way to kind of make sequels.
Let's just backtrack real quick. I would look a lot better in a dress.
Yeah, you would.
Than
yes,
that.
You would.
Just saying. I just want to throw that out there.
A nun outfit. I think that would look exactly like you.
I nail that, baby.
I think that would be exactly what you look like in a nun's outfit.
I think I look amazing.
I guess we'll have to test the theory. But
give me one.
So the nun, I didn't know that. So the nun was not.
They just made that up.
That was all made up.
Right.
Yeah, they like there was no like, for example, at the beginning of the second film, which is Conjuring 2, it shows Ed and Lorraine Warren at the House of the Amityville Horror, which they did visit after the fact. They did a seance or whatever, but that's when she first sees the nun.
So
they never admit they saw a nun, but that was just something like, how do we tie this to like a sequel? Because at that point they're like, all right, let's turn this into a franchise. And then obviously in The Conjuring 2, there's this famous scene, which in my opinion is the spookiest one, because that's a painting behind her. But the way they did it, I don't know if they put a little CGI in it, but it looked like someone was actually staring at her, and you kind of see the eyes moving. It's arguably one of the spookier parts of the movie. But then they were like, there was no nun. No one, like, whether it happened or not, no one ever said, oh, there's like a demonic nun who's coming for us or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
They just kind of took it. I was like, all right, how do we bridge this out?
So I just had a thought, right? The whole nun, the whole existence of that thing, say hypothetically, it does exist. There's this demonic nun running around. That immediately cuts the ties that the Catholic Church try to put on spirits. You know what I mean? Like the Catholic Church, according to them, there's spirits and demons and stuff. And that's because, they let Satan in their heart and they didn't believe in Jesus, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But if a nun can be a demon, well, that just proves
now here's what they did. They explained that in The Nun, because we're like, well, who was she? Turns out she wasn't actually a nun. It was a demon taking the form of a nun to trick people.
That's so
to
funny.
Kind of like,
That's funny that they had an answer for that.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Because these are the only movies, Conjuring and the Nun movies, where like religion is like, at least Christianity's portrayed as the good guy. Like they always go to
that's
a priest.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, help us. Like that's what I would do, man. If stuff started moving in my room, like that's it. I'm getting a priest or a pastor. Like, come over here and throw some holy water.
The local exterminator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call the
church.
I'd call the Supernatural Brothers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Get some vampire slayers up in here,
Yeah.
But like, they always connect that. So, for example, in I think the first Annabelle movie, they introduced like the Spanish priest in L.A., who I didn't realize is the same priest in Curse of La Llorona. I didn't realize it was the same actor. That were all these things actually connected in real life? No, because I think Curse of La Llorona is a made up story. It's based off an actual myth.
It's just
like that story of that, mom and her kids,
No, they're just trying to tie the movies together. But and that's also why I thought Insidious was part of all of this, because not only are actors, but also James Wan. So I thought they're all tied together.
Yeah.
So you can't even use that as an example, because that's not true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's how I usually
Patrick Wilson wasn't in one or the other, they could hypothetically put them together, but he kind of ruins it because he plays the dad in the first two Insidious movies. And then, he plays Ed Warren.
Ed Warren, yeah. I mean, they could put a multiverse, aspect on it and get away with anything.
You could argue that this is the most successful multiverse after the MCU. I mean, obviously, it's a big gap.
No, what are you talking about? DC.
No.
DC, what? Are you kidding? Well, DC with Wonder Woman and Aquaman alone, that puts them high above the Conjuring
But here's the thing:
universe.
right now, everything would financially, you're right. DC would be more popular, but I would say this is more consistent.
I would say fans would rather, as of right now, general audiences would probably be faster to go to one of these movies than they would to a random DC movie.
I give you that.
So based on success, I guess it's all relative to what you're speaking on.
Right.
But guys, let us know in the comments. Are you a fan of the Conjurings? Are you a fan of this universe that they're building? Listen, I thought the Annabelle movies were some great.
Oh yeah, great you were
movies.
Into that.
That first one gets crapped on a lot, but I actually like that first one. Like she's pregnant with her kid, and I was kind of wondering, like, are they going to do like a Chucky thing where the doll moves and like runs around and looks goofy?
Yeah, no,
but it's like didn't. The doll kind of is like a conduit for other stuff happening.
Yeah,
and like it makes it worse. Is like she's pregnant. Like there's an extra kind of like fear. It's not just her. Right. She's got a little girl.
Like what something would happen, right? Like say, she's just laying there, she's alone with the baby, she's rubbing her belly, and then bam, something smashes in the kitchen, right? She goes looking, there's nothing there, and then they pan to the doll, right? Something like that.
Yeah. So Prakash, we're not saying like souls don't exist. We're not getting into that debate. We're just saying that in these movies.
Wait, what?
So Prakash said like he still believes in souls, but he's dropping. Like we're not saying like the supernatural doesn't exist or anything like that. We're just saying that in these movies, like they kind of like, they have to, otherwise it'd be a boring movie.
Right.
Something wasn't coming out.
100%.
And, like, jumping at you.
100%. And I'm a huge fan, but yeah, the Annabelle movies, the I don't know why I really gravitated toward to those ones over the Conjuring. I liked the stories of them, and I was actually interested in where it went. So after I watched the first Annabelle movie, I was like, oh, I would love to see a second one of that. And then the way they did it, they didn't just do a sequel to it, right? Then I think so. Annabelle came out, and then Annabelle Creation.
Yep, the one that's set in the past. Yep, that was the one.
Oh, it's a prequel. Okay.
And so that one was a prequel. Then and that one was really good too. And then they did Annabelle Creation, and Annabelle Comes Home.
Yeah. That was one that kind of ties to the. Wow. I actually like that third one a lot.
Yeah.
The third one is where so it's Ed and Lorraine Warren at the start. They go out for a party or whatever. I don't know where they're going. And they leave their daughter, the babysitter. The babysitter calls her best friend over. And these three girls are trapped in the house because one of them unlocks it. Dude, I was like, all right, this one's got.
I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Really? I was like, holy crap, this is spooky. Because the house almost like the house is being manipulated. Like they're running around. They can't seem to get out. And there's a fog. There's something in the fog. And that one was like, whoa, that was clever. I liked how they did that,
Yeah. And that's the thing about these movies is that it's not your typical horror film. There are some cool aspects to it. It's not just a spooky scary. But okay, so that will bring us up to The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Okay, so now famously, this case is literal. This is the real case.
I really want to read that.
This is a real case where someone claimed demonic possession for the first time.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
In court, they said I was possessed by a demon. The way this story is taking it is that, well, you guys swear to God at the beginning of every court case, right?
Yeah.
I swear to God, nothing but the truth, yada yada.
Right.
But then a guy claims demonic possession, and you laugh him out of court. Yet you swear to God in the beginning of every court case.
Yeah.
Now that's a cool aspect of it.
Right.
That's what that reminded me of.
And they
have you guys ever seen Miracle on 34th Street?
No.
Yes.
But I'm familiar.
At the ending, there's a similar case. Like, well, how can you prove you're Santa Claus? And then the little girl gives him $1 on the money. It says, "In God we trust." And the judge is like, well, just like we can't prove God exists or not, this court can't say that Santa Claus doesn't exist or not.
Yeah, but okay. So, well, here's the
argument,
difference.
but
here's the difference, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I would love to hear that defense lawyer's argument. That would have been a great day to be a juror. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Second,
I love that.
This is and this is why this is there in our legal system. It's a big part of it. Without a reasonable doubt, the fact that I cannot neither prove or disprove what you just said is well over reasonable doubt. So that goes out the window.
But here's the thing.
That's why you can't just say ludicrous anything.
There's a chance. 70% of Americans do believe in some higher power.
Right.
People on that jury are going to be like, well, I kind of believe in God and the devil. Maybe I do too,
No, it works out great in the defense's case.
Yeah.
Defense doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You have to prove I'm guilty. So they're good.
They did that. What was that movie? The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I actually liked how they did that. It was actually a court case, inspired loosely on one that happened in Germany like 80 years ago.
Right.
But like, so the defendant, like, she's like, this priest was basically blamed for the death of this girl because he said she was possessed, but there's no real way to prove it.
Exactly.
You know, like
on his side,
on his side. So she's like, well, let me ask you all this: is it possible? You know, and then she has like a shaman come in, talk about spirituality and stuff like that. And it's actually a really intelligent way of looking at it, because every time they showed something supernatural, the prosecution would show that, hey, you know, here's a logical reason for it happening. Now,
of course,
within the context of the film, we know it's supernatural.
It's a lot of faith on this end and a lot of science on this end. But I hate to break it to you, but I would hope to think that most would pick the facts, not the faith, you know. But like you said, 70% of people are some sort of believer, so they'll probably pick faith over that.
I think it just makes for an interest. That's why this Conjuring movie coming out actually gets excited, because there is some sort of like, oh, okay.
It's like
there's not, we're not just seeing it from Ed and Lorraine Warren. There's always something supernatural. Now we're gonna see the eyes of the court system and what they like. All right, well, listen, you guys pray to God or you swear to God before every case.
Right.
Now someone comes in, says I was possessed by a demon, and yet you laugh them out.
Right.
Like I'm
Christmas. The whole country shuts down on Christmas. We're basically saying God had a son and came to destroy evil by dying on a cross.
Yeah.
It's the only religious federal holiday in the U.S. because we don't recognize any specific religion, but it's so popular. Everyone celebrates Christmas, whether religiously or not. But like,
now, if they do this movie correctly, this is going to be one of those great dialogue kind of movies, right? Where that's what I'm hoping for. It's because of the whole court case thing that they really spend their time and write these arguments, this whole lawyer against lawyer scene correctly, kind of like an episode of Daredevil, you know? It's like this movie, if it ends up being what I think it's going to be, it'll be like a crossover of Law and Order and Supernatural. Bam.
Okay, I kind of like that. Yeah,
you know what I mean, and that'd be cool.
I would love that. Like, try to be intellectual about it, and you know,
right. That's what I'm looking for.
Be kind of smart about it, you know. Don't just be like, you know, they have to demonstrate like magic in the court or something like that. You know, like something silly like that.
Well, you have to exercise someone in the court.
They get like the magician from downtown. He's like doing sleight of hand tricks. Like, this your card? And like, oh my god, it must be true.
Yeah, I know. But I'm kind of curious how they're going to deal with it. But so this was the one, Annabelle Comes Home.
That was
which it really tied
like a really blurry.
I'm sorry about that.
But here's the deal. So this is the only one I didn't see. I didn't know that it was in the same universe, though.
Yeah. Right. So I'll show you what the priest. I'm going to switch the image. This priest who was in the first the first Annabelle movie. He's the priest that the pregnant woman goes to see.
Oh yeah.
He's also the priest in this one. So that's sort of the tie-in. Basically, there is a myth about La Llorona. There's plenty of YouTube videos and YouTubers that go to try to find her. So
Mexican.
I don't know if they said this one was based on a true story or not, but basically, this woman supposedly killed her kids hundreds of years ago, like in the 1800s or 1700s, and her spirit comes back to take over and cause mothers to kill their kids.
She
it's
took her two children. It's a Mexican myth about the 1800s. I say like 1850, something like that. I think, if I got the number right. She takes her two kids down to the river. She drowns them both. And then I believe she took her own life afterwards. I believe that's how it went down. Very old Mexican tale. You ask any Mexican, I'm sure they could tell you the myth, because it's very common. It's one of those, cultural story time kind of things. And there's enough movies to fill this entire room. I swear to God, there's so many. When I first heard about the myth, I was watching a movie review, and he explained the myth, and then he explained how many movies they have made about this myth.
This curse. Yeah.
And if you consider all budget ranges and where it was made and produced, I mean, bro, like this. Probably like 100 movies, something around this.
Yeah,
girl.
There's other La Llorona. This is obviously the most famous one and the most popular one because it was made by the Conjuring people. But it's also a very popular spot for like these ghost hunters to go, like professional and amateur. Like they love going there. You know, BuzzFeed did a thing there. This wherever that spot is where they found the bodies. Like it's just such a popular thing in mythos. And I think going back to like what you were saying, you know, people say based on true story. I think people kind of want to believe it's true. I think
like just for the sake of the movie.
It brings us
not even for the movie. I think they kind of want to believe like maybe there is something life after death because we live in a very secular world. Like,
that's what I said earlier. Is that we want to believe, we want to live a little bit on edge because honestly, it gives life a little bit more of a twist, right? And it's not just wake up, go to work. That's why. And like people, a couple people asked me like, why do you guys talk about aliens so much? You want to know why? It's because I want it to happen because I want it, because it's almost like I want it to happen during my lifetime because I want to be there for it.
Right. Me too.
I would love to be there for it because whatever way it goes down, whether it's the Independence Day way or if it's the arrival way,
it'd be amazing.
I would like to be a part of it because we will always be remembered as the people that were there when aliens came.
Absolutely.
Right. This is the generation.
It would be the biggest event in human history.
Human history to date.
By far.
No, and nothing after that would compare.
Even close. Not even close.
You would never be able to compare.
The second, right after that is us landing on the moon that happened forever ago. I mean, it would by far be
even if like humans went to other planets and colonized them, it would be like, nope. It's
by then we already knew.
No, that's
by then. But if the humans colonized another planet,
that's huge.
By then we would already have known that aliens have existed, right?
Absolutely,
because they would have already come down and seen us. That's how we get a little help with our technology. That's how we get there. So no, in comparison, it dulls.
Yeah, we get our next kind of step. But I mean, you got to think, bro, colonization of another planet is absurd. But that's way on the
Come on.
Okay, so I was going to talk about that tomorrow.
Prakash thinks we don't know these things. Come on.
So what I wanted to say about this whole, what you guys were saying, that some people like need it to be true and they want it to be true because life is so boring otherwise. That's the thing. I don't understand how people like they go out looking for excitement and things that are possibly fake rather than like the world is full of wonder. There's amazing things that go on planet Earth all the time, bro. You just go into the ocean and you'll see some amazing mind-blowing type of things going on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird to me that people go to the made-up imaginary to get their wonder.
I am not willing to concede that some of these stories might be true. Maybe not the way we see them, but there is something, whether it's religious or not. I think that the idea that like, when we die, that's it. I think that's, and here's the thing, if you can't prove God exists, but if you can prove the supernatural exists, that means that God must exist. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like one of those things, like, if the devil exists, that means God exists, or something like that.
Which is also not true. We really can't say anything for sure about these subjects, right?
We just said like, which also is not true, but we can't really say anything for sure.
Well, no, it's not true though. If just because the devil does exist does not mean God exists. It doesn't. There's always.
Oh, I see. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, there's always somewhere for it to be. So we really can't say anything for certain. And that's kind of like what Tyler was saying. I want some kind of significant event to happen in my lifetime. I need some kind of significant event to happen in my lifetime. I want to witness something amazing, the next major step in mankind. I want to see it. I want to be there. That's why a big part of I was trying to join the military, but they wouldn't take me. I was trying to join the Marines for that reason because if something crazy
gotta be
goes
on time
down,
for that stuff, man.
Right. If something crazy goes down, that who's there first? Marines.
Military.
Hoorah. You know what I mean? So that was a big part of it.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts.
Nope.
I wish they would.
Oh man, if they were sponsors.
My God, that's
they don't send us money, they just send us donuts. But yeah, you know what? Like, I feel like if aliens were to arrive, and hopefully I think it'd be peaceful.
Jack,
like the idea was
spooky scary, buddy.
But, I'm sorry, but like if that were, it would actually be a good moment. It'd be a moment where I think people would get their crap together.
Right.
Right.
And like all of a sudden say the same thing vice versa with the spooky scary. If that same thing, if it turns out that spirits do exist, and if you are a piece of garbage throughout your lifetime, you will suffer in the afterlife. If that's proven, then people will
here's the thing.
Together. You know what I mean?
Why do you think religion was created?
To answer questions we weren't able to answer.
To keep people in line.
No.
Yes, it was. It was to keep people in line.
I think it's been used that way, but
it was to keep people in line and to stop chaos. If there was no hell, then people would walk around murdering people.
No, they would not.
Yes, they would.
No, they would not.
Yes. Statistically, they would.
No.
Yes, they would. That's
I hear this argument so often.
Not now. If if humans were created, right, and we were already as advanced as we are right now, then you're right. I would go with the latter. No, but in decades and hundreds of years ago, it was a dog-eat-dog world, my friend.
Look at the Wild West. Look how they treat the Native Americans, and it's not like the people killing them were evil
world,
people. They were like, hey, they're savages, you know, blah blah blah.
That was in the name of conquering the land. That's why we were acting like that. People do not just act like that. We do not just murder. Most people aren't. There's a lot of people. There's a solid number of people who are not religious in any way, shape, or form, including me.
99.999% of people hundreds of years ago were religious. It was the religion was created in order to give people hope of going to heaven, or if they were bad, going to hell. It was a system to keep people in check so that they would follow the rules of, which are very basic, like very good things, right? Don't murder, don't steal, don't do these things. They're very good things. Besides things like that,
they're not talking about you, Justice.
They're very good in their nature, right? Yes, you should live like that, but they needed a way to enforce it.
See, so my rebuttal, I promise we'll get off this topic after this, but my rebuttal, religion was not created to keep people in line. It was created to answer questions. If you look at religion's a lot older than Christianity.
You can answer your own questions. You can believe in whatever you want.
Let me finish. Christianity, first of all, is not the first religion, not even close. We have ancient Greek, Nordic.
You'll never get me to believe it.
All of these, right?
Ancient,
These were originally created to answer questions that we were incapable of answering. Let me finish. The sun rising, the moon, nighttime. Why do the waves come in? Why do this? And that's proven.
Why do earthquakes happen?
When you look back at ancient Greek mythology, each one of those gods were responsible for something. It wasn't for thousands and thousands and thousands of years later did Christianity come around, start barking, talking about heaven and hell, and then everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Well, I'm sorry.
There were stories of afterlife first. Always.
Maybe
every religion has afterlife.
Absolutely. So maybe systematic belief systems were created purely, but religion, as we know it now, was created in order to keep people in line.
But no, it wasn't.
Yeah, maybe the ones that you're talking about, those first set of belief systems, were
very first.
Okay, there's a god of the moon. There's a god of there's literally a god for everything.
Wine,
maybe,
parties,
maybe. But
I would even argue like the first 4 centuries of Christianity, if you were, you had no power. You were going to get killed. It's not till like Constantine that it's all of a sudden like it becomes legalized and then it starts regimenting. But if you were Christian before then, from like the 1st century to the 4th century, you were going to get killed. They didn't like you. They fed you the wines. So like, all religions, I think it's a combination of both. It starts like, well, for example, why is Sunday called the Sunday? Because that was the day where people worshipped Ra, the sun god. They thought that was the god, There's a sun out there. The sun's the reason my food grows. The sun's the reason I'm warm during the day. It must be a god. They didn't know it was a big ball of gas just floating out there.
My point exactly.
And then you're right. Then people come in, and you can say this about any ideology, politics, everything. It becomes a way like, okay, we can control people because they believe something.
Right. Yeah, because absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
So here's what happened, right?
So maybe that started pure, but then somewhere along the line, someone got it in their head. Look what we can do.
Well, so that's what exactly what I was just about to say. And that's Christianity for you, whether you're willing to admit it or not. That's the truth. What happened was we got people like Galileo and Isaac Newton and Leonardo da Vinci, and they started, mathematics came around, science came around. They started answering these questions that we originally had religion to answer. So that's no longer the case. But what we didn't have was answers for moral things. How should we behave? What should we do? And here's the thing. At no point has, maybe more in recent years, yes, but at the beginning, Christianity was simply around for mind control and mind control only. I cannot stress this enough. I don't even think even in the little bit kind of case was it just straight chaos before Christianity. I don't believe it. I refuse to believe that at any point, unless it's in the name of something, conquering, war, whatever the case may be, unless we're fighting about something, people don't just walk around murdering each other. We don't need Christianity for that. It was about control. How many people have died in the name of Jesus or because they don't believe the same religion as them? It was a control thing, not a moral thing. Not a.
So you're making Ty's point, then, aren't you?
No.
Yes.
No.
Exactly. That's what.
Well, yes.
Like you're like, I'm on Ty's side now.
We were never off sides. We was always on the same side about it. But my point being, the only thing I'm rebutting of his is that it was chaos before we got this whole commandments thing. Like people would just walk around and murder each other. It was a dog eat dog, right?
Well, I mean, if you go to even if you go by 200 years, the idea of life being sacred, that you shouldn't kill because it's wrong. Let's go back to like ancient times. If Ty stole my wallet, I was justified in killing Ty. That made sense. That was like, hey, the guy stole your wallet or he stole your goat or whatever. You had the right to kill him. And then certain religions, especially in the Judeo-Christian framework or the Hammurabi Code, was like, no. If Ty stole your wallet, he has to return the money back or he has to compensate you, but you don't kill him. Right. Now if he did it again and again, like all of a sudden, like you also had laws coming up at the same time as religion. And I would argue that even like governmental laws to some degree, if you don't have those laws, I mean, if I believe in God, if there is one, he doesn't differentiate people like society does. Exactly. Maybe, yeah, you're right.
Look, if there is a God, I can promise you that this only makes sense. This could I think about this all the time, and the only way I can make it make sense, if there is some kind of omnipotent, all-powerful, almighty, all-creating deity, it is, first of all, it's not going to look like us. It's not going to behave like us. It's not going to think like us. It's not going to be anything like us. It's going to be far beyond what we're even capable of fathoming. Yeah. Meaning saying things like God loves you, and God cares about us, or God is vengeful, or God is this, or God is that. It's just, I can't imagine even kind of being true. How would an all-powerful, omnipotent being have some basic human emotions like jealousy or love? You know what I mean?
Well, if everything, the universe and all comes from that being, it would make sense that these beings would have the traits. Like even a dog can feel pain or sadness and stuff. Maybe that's some aspect, like a sliver of what that being is. You know, I'm not saying that God is like humans or whatever. So
right. But, I can't imagine any kind of deity, any kind, if there's multiple or just one. And
I love how Justice is saying this while wearing a rosary.
Yeah, it's a fashion statement. Yeah,
you told me one time. Yeah. I'm telling you, Justin, tonight you're going to go to sleep and this is going to pop at your window and you're going to.
I have mirrors, Jack. I see that on a regular basis. That's not scary to me. I don't know. I can't imagine, especially again, just being one. If there is just one all-powerful God, I can't imagine it being anything, having any kind of anything we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But,
way off subject.
Yeah. So, but it's not off topic.
No,
it's not.
I know.
These movies are literally based on
like
something. A religious aspect of it. There's a heavy featured in it. Or it's a heavy feature inside of these films.
They're like priests and
everything.
They're performing exorcisms.
Dude, in East Asia, this stuff is still very common. Like over here, if you say I believe in like the supernatural, people might be like, "Whoa, that's kind of weird." You go to like East Asia, they still have like shamans and like voodoo. Even over here, we got like voodoo and stuff. Like, I'm not denying that 90% of it is something like the thing with the UFOs. You can explain like 90% of it, 95%. That last 5% is like, okay, I can't explain this. Maybe there is something beyond.
Right.
You know, maybe it's a scientific phenomena that we haven't.
That's something I forgot to bring up when you guys were talking about. You guys were talking about something earlier that had some actual photos and stuff from when it actually went down in the movie. I think you said Annabelle, right?
Yeah.
You said the one where the cops show up and that was a little spooky. Remember The Fourth Kind? And they that movie with the aliens, and you would watch the movie, and
is
then
that
they
the girl from Resident Evil?
No, she
Mila
wasn't in it. I
Jovovich?
don't think so. No, she wasn't in it. I don't believe. Fourth Kind was the alien movie where they there's that one scene of they're in the therapy session and it has the
that's her. That's Mila Jovovich. Yeah,
is she in it?
Like, yeah, that's her. Her hair is different though. Yeah.
Okay. So that movie right there is like that's the pinnacle of like based on a true story kind of movies because I mean those tapes could have been faked, but I don't think they were. I think they were legit tapes, and I think that's like. If you want to claim something's based on a true story, then you need something like that. And you know what I'm saying? That's like the golden standard.
But like even with the alien abduction story, because I've been thinking about it, because I never believed them, but now in the last few years, I'm like, okay, if they have been visiting, are some of these abductions, because there'll be the one dude who's like, yeah, I met the aliens. They gave me a Haagen-Dazs and we talked about saving the world. It's like, dude, you're a guy in Kentucky. But then you'll hear the story of someone who's like, hey, something happened to me. I was driving. I show up 3 hours later. I don't know what happened. And like, they have nightmares. Like, are all these people all over the world, like, you know, making up the same story? Maybe. Or maybe there's some truth to it, that maybe some people, something did happen to them. Maybe it was the government doing it. I don't know. But
hold on.
What happened?
Who's this?
You want to know why I keep moving my shit?
Nut, man.
First of all,
stop. You want to know why I keep moving my stuff? Because I can, because it's mine.
Right.
And because I've actually only moved it once.
Right.
I've changed some wallpaper a couple times, but I've only changed rooms. And this is actually the room that was always intended to be the studio, not the walkway room that's next door. So if you have any more questions, please submit them to pop.culturecorner2020@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Justice, you're well lit today, man. I like your setup today.
Hey, I'm lit. Hey, we're lit. Thank you.
Tell me why I keep moving my shit.
That was a weird comment. It's Gary the Parademon.
Yeah. But so we're gonna be at Showcase on Friday. Yeah. So we've decided 12:30 is the best time to do, and then 11:30.
So that way I don't get scared. We decided 12:30, so that way the sun is as high as the sky as it will be. So it will help with my when I'll be a little scared, you know, coming out the theater. I'm gonna be shaking a little bit, so it'll be nice to the daytime. Rather, if it was nighttime, I don't think I could handle it.
Well, let me ask you this, Ty. We talked about this a little bit, but like, have any of these movies like affected you, where like you watch it, especially at night, and then you have trouble sleeping?
Sinister is that's what
you were talking about.
Sinister is the only movie to ever put me. So I was not a young man, right? I was okay. Well, I was a young man, but I wasn't 8.
You're in your 20s.
I was 18 to 20. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I went and watched Sinister in the movie theaters because we were like, oh, Ethan Hawke in a horror movie. Yay. Can't wait to do that. Went and saw it. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what made this different about other horror movies. However, I could not get the thing out of my head. I called him Ragu, but it was like
Ragu.
It was something else.
Isn't
it was
that spaghetti sauce?
Yeah. But it was something like that. Was the demon's name?
Okay.
You know. So, but we kept calling him Ragu, and I couldn't get him out of my head. I had to sleep in my boy's house in his room on the floor. He was sleeping in his bed. I was sleeping on the floor.
Drew.
No, I could not. Andrew, if you watch this video, which I know you probably will, put it in the comments how this is an absolute true story. Him and I were so scared that we had to sleep in the same room and like be in each other's presence. And then I promise you this is a legitimate story. This actually happened, right? On the window, right? He opens his window, like his blinds, and the way the trees were like hitting his house, like the branches were in the shape of the same looking thing as the face. I jumped so far out of my skeleton that I think I broke a little bit of a rib. That I jumped so hard, dude, and it was just such a bad night. And then I never saw anything other than I never saw Sinister 2 because I refused to go back and see anything that had to do with it. There's a part where a little girl is she drives a lawnmower over somebody.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, this movie's no joke, my friends.
Yeah, but I think that's the power of horror movies. Like, you may watch it and not feel scared, but like,
Jack, do you have something on? Because there is a small echo, and it's not us.
I got my.
Wait, Jack, stop for a second. Don't say anything. Hello.
Yeah, Jack, do you have something on?
Yeah,
you can hear that, right?
Yeah, something's.
It's not us because everything's muted.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself. Is it?
No, now you're gone, man.
Yeah. It's something in your room, Jack.
Yeah, it's something in your room that's doing it.
That's playing us. Do you have like your TV playing or something? No.
Yeah, my TV's muted, but I can turn it off.
It comes back when you're
That's weird.
Ragu giving you saucy nightmares.
You're stupid. So, oh yeah. So that's what I wanted to speak on.
And listen,
first of all-
Parademon, I love you, man. You know, I'm just messing with you. But listen, I did move it because this was intended to be the studio in the first place. I just couldn't do it because Justice knows
He's
how
a
much
hoarder.
stuff. No, that wasn't me.
He has a hoarding
How much
problem.
stuff was in this room?
A lot.
It was
you have a
probably
hoarding
up
problem.
here with trash. So this is where I always wanted to be. It's a nice square. There's a door. In the other room, there's no door. So like I would have company over. They would walk through the studio.
Trip on
You never
wires
know
and
if
shit.
anything's gonna get stolen. It's just a very
So if you guys join the Big Drip special for $2.99 a month, I'll give you the video for the intervention of me intervening his hoarding problem. It's only $3.99, baby. It's worth it.
yeah, $2.99.
$2.99.
To my point about
Like a Big Mac
$2.99,
special.
it's nothing. I mean, Disney Plus is what, $10 now. They're gonna keep raising those prices. It's
look,
nothing, and we could use the help.
Would you rather look at me or Disney Plus? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I know.
No, but so
Come on.
okay, so La Llorona, however you pronounce that.
Wow,
La Llorona.
Justin. La
Llorona?
Curse of La Llorona. La Llorona. La Llorona.
La Llorona. So
Corona
that
with
one.
an L.
That one is so we got The Conjuring. It's based on true story. We
Yes,
have
yeah.
La Llorona based on true story. Annabelle is based on true story. Jack, I think you have a picture of the original doll.
Yeah, the
that-
original.
I've seen that. It's just a Raggedy
what's
Ann,
funny,
right?
Raggedy Ann doll
Yeah.
is nowhere near as terrifying as they had to change it for
I
the
don't
movie
know,
because
bro.
that
That
doesn't look
thing's that's scary. I'd be afraid of that.
compared to this.
Yes, in a spooky. Yeah, that thing looks corny to me because it's specifically designed to be scary.
To be scary,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's true.
That
Yeah,
automatically takes away from the creepy vibe.
Yeah.
What makes something creepy is that you recognize it, but
Yeah.
it just there's something off about it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think that's the thing about like these movies when they have like toys or inanimate objects. Like you don't think about a doll. You know, my sister grew up with dolls, but then you're like, if you just keep looking at it,
Right.
You
And a
know, like, all of a
Raggedy
sudden
Ann,
you get a
you
little
can't tell
bit-
me you can't do that with a Raggedy Ann doll. It's
Yeah, it
soulless.
it also could have been a copyright issue. Like the people who make Raggedy
Yeah.
Ann were like, you can't use our doll or
Oh,
something.
100%.
Yeah,
that was
definitely.
you know what? I can almost
That would
guarantee
affect
that had
sales.
something
People would
to do
stop
with it.
buying them.
Yes.
They could definitely, yeah, that's a good point. They'd stop buying them because you can make that movie with that
Yeah.
doll. That thing's
But then they would also say, it can't even look like our doll. Like you make up your own Raggedy Ann doll.
Right,
Like that
right.
looks, so they got to make something different.
The one who
because-
behaves
Yo,
the
he's
coolest
dead
is the
on,
one
by the
who's
way, because you are the
afraid,
most scared of Spooky
which I
Scary.
believe is wait. The one who behaves the coolest is the one who's most afraid. Afraid of what?
Oh.
Spooky Scary.
I don't know, man. You're the one wearing a crew
so
rosary.
let me I just want to make something abundantly clear. Movies don't get me. It's real life events that get me. If I
Yeah,
walk into a house and I get a bad vibe about it, I'm Scooby-Dooing out your house.
Yeah.
And you'll never see me again, bro. I don't play
But
games.
what I was
swear to
going to
God.
say, like,
I said
going
that
back-
to him the first time I came over here. I was like, all right, bro, everything
Not that
feels
I
cool.
don't. Yeah, I said not that I have a.
going
Like,
back
if
to
I
like the
come
idea
in-
of like movies, you may not find them scary, but sometimes it's the same thing with marketing. Like it triggers an emotional response. Like you ever eaten a full meal and then you see like a commercial for McDonald's, all of a sudden you get hungry because that's your reptile brain reacting. I think it's the same thing with horror movies. Like you watch a movie, not be scared, but like an image or like a scene. It
Oh
could be
yeah,
the music
absolutely.
stays
Absolutely.
in your mind.
Absolutely.
There was a scene in the first Insidious where like she's doing a reading and she's like, there's something in a corner. You see a black corner. It's just, you can't see the light there. And all of a sudden a hand comes out and the
Right.
music starts creating. And all of a sudden like that for the next couple of weeks, every time I looked at my corner, I would just play that scene. I'm like, oh shit, time to turn the light on.
Yeah, this is cool already.
It-
So
it-
let me
it
tell you a ghost story. A cousin of my grandmother was cycling in the night, and a hand held the cycle from behind. Just a hand.
Yeah.
I like that.
My
So-
dad's got some creepy war stories like that, of like
I got a
spooky stuff
couple.
happening.
I got a
Yeah,
couple.
I
I won't get into it, but I do. I got a
my
handful.
cousin Nick, who just said Ragu gives you saucy nightmares. He knows that I used to. He knows especially I used to go to places with a camera,
yeah,
and I
told
talked
the
about this
story
on Black Label one
Yeah,
time,
yep.
where I used to go to like haunted mansions or
Right.
or there's a place in Massachusetts called Dogtown.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. But and then there literally next to where I lived in Billerica,
Yeah.
there's something called Dudley Road, which is
Hmm.
famously it has a nunnery on it.
Okay.
Speaking of the nun, there's a nunnery on this road. So we used to go and just
Is it shut down? The
No,
nunnery?
the nunnery is still active.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the story about Dudley Road is that 3 nuns were hung
Right.
in the front yard
Mm.
in the for practicing witchcraft during the
Mm.
Salem
In other words,
Era.
they knew math.
Yeah, exactly.
Pastor, 2 + 2 = 4.
Witch!
Get the news.
Witch!
Get the news.
She's a witch!
She's a witch.
But
Burn
that was
her.
literally
True
like I could
story.
spit on that road, the start of that road from my house. That's how close it was.
Yeah, I see. That's cause for me to move.
Yeah. So we used to just go to places like that.
Right.
And there have been several times where something happens where you can explain, but you can't explain.
Right.
So you don't know if it's the adrenaline of like being in this place that's doing it to you.
Very much.
Right. It's bringing you to that edge of like almost like a euphoric, a scared feeling. And you know, I don't know, but what is it? Is it, would you want to explain it, or do you want to just kind of let it go and believe
like
that for the rest of your life?
Right. I would like, no, me personally, I would prefer an explanation. Like I said, I have a handful of stories, and I would prefer to have explanations for these stories rather than being what I am now. You know what I'm saying? Then I wouldn't be so afraid. If I could explain it, then the fear would go away. People fear most what they don't understand.
Ooh, question of for all of you.
Freddy vs. Jason.
Best horror movie for you.
Love that movie. Freddy vs. Jason is the most fun I've ever had with a horror movie.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Sinister because it put me on my ass. It put me on my butt.
Okay, well, if so for pure fun, it's Freddy vs. Jason because it's just
Freddy vs. Jason was awesome.
It's just for fun. But then there's also movies like It Follows. That movie is excellent.
Yeah,
that's just an overall good movie. And then there's also movies like, for the same reason you picked Sinister, it's Paranormal Activity. I thought it was real. I thought it was real for the longest. We were talking about this last week.
That's how they marketed what was it called? Blair Witch Project. A lot of people thought that was real.
That too.
Like, oh,
same
wow,
thing.
That's real footage they found. They didn't realize
some
it
of
was
the best marketing
film
you'll ever see. Paranormal Activity for the longest. Again, I told him the other day, bro, like 3 months went by before I realized this movie was a movie. Like I saw them at some random like movie award show. I was like, bro, I know I saw you die at the end of that. What is going on? So like I was genuinely
and
afraid.
See, the studio kind of let
cried.
that slide. They let it slide because they were like,
ooh, that's a good one too, Jack.
The 2009 one. Okay,
yeah, the remake was bomb.
I like the remake was alright. I like the like part 4 is my favorite, but whatever.
Part 4 is Manhattan.
Part 4 and part 6 is when he first becomes a zombie.
Part 4
had one of the what was that boy? There were the two Corys, Corey Haim or Corey Feldman was in one of them. Corey Feldman, I think. He was like a little boy.
Is that the one he goes in Manhattan?
Jason no, that's 8. That's 8. See, I like that one too. It's stupid. Okay. You know what movie I hated? I thought it was bad, but when you go back and watch it, it's so bad it's good, and that was the point. You ever see Jason X?
Yeah, Jason X. Yeah, of course.
That's a fun movie.
It's
intentionally made to be like it's not to be like a you're supposed to take it seriously. No, you're supposed to like laugh at it.
Right.
It's the most ridiculous thing.
Well, it's dude.
Wait, are there people? Is he on like a spaceship?
Yeah. So what happens is like he's like his body is like frozen or something or whatever. And for some reason, they took him up with them for whatever reason.
So I can clarify. So basically,
frozen, and he just goes on a murder spree.
Okay,
the government didn't know what to do with him because they couldn't kill him.
It is.
So they cryogenically froze him. And then hundreds of years later, Earth is like devastated, and like a research team comes and they happen to find this body. Like, oh, we found this rare artifact that was, frozen like 300 years ago. They don't know who he is. Right. And they take him up into space, like, oh, this is like when we take a mummy out of a tomb or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, once he starts thawing.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
It's ridiculous.
You know what's funny? This is one of Jack's favorite movies. He must have just watched this because it's fresh on his brain. He just
I saw it during the summer, yeah.
It's fresh on your mind, so you be watching that on a regular. It's like your favorite movie.
Yeah.
Explain to me in detail what happened.
The Chucky movies. Anything, the first and second one are good, I suppose, but anything after that was just absolute nonsense.
The remake with Mark Hamill ain't bad. They rebooted it. It's
with Aubrey Plaza, yeah.
Mark Hamill.
They have a different. They have it, so it's not the spirit of somebody in the doll.
This time, no, it's a malfunction this time around,
which I kind of like better.
Yeah.
I kind of like it more.
It's like a interactive toy. It's like, oh, the next step in cool. Oh, wait. Well, completely off to
hey, Poindexter,
an excellent horror movie that I seen. It's a Hulu original, Puka. Puka. It's a Hulu original. Every year Hulu does couple of Halloween movies. They make and they call it like Hulu in the Dark or something stupid like that. It's sounds like the Cinemax you used to see at 3 a.m. But Puka was this movie. It was like one of those like trippy horror movies where this dude, he's an actor, right? And he catches a gig. They release a new teddy bear. It's called Puka. And you talk to it. It's kind of like a magic 8-ball, right? You ask it a question, and then it will decide whether you're naughty or nice, right? And if you're nice, the eyes will turn blue and he'll smile and sing a little song. But if you're naughty, he like gets angry and his eyes turn red. And they would like use that. He was the guy who dressed up in the big costume of the bear, right? And the costume, like it's like a bear with bunny ears and like mosquito or like housefly eyes. Big, huge, like housefly looking eyes like that, you know, like with hexagons on it and they're kind of shiny. You know what I'm talking about? Those kind of eyes. And again, it's like a psychological horror, but bro, bro, when I tell you it's like really good, it's really good. I was how do I say this? PG, there was me and THC were hanging out at the time, right? I had a friend over by the name of Jane, and this movie threw me for a loop, bro.
You're such a dummy.
But
I don't think that goes against anything.
Well, that's like an explanation as to why this movie
maybe
threw me for a loop. Yeah, I mean,
well, that's why Sinister did what it did to me.
Right.
Because Sinister takes the supernatural and then connects it with the idea of a serial killer. Like, you know, how many stories you've heard of like families, someone in the family goes nuts and kills the family. So that happens, but it's like, what if there's like a paranormal component?
See, that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
The revelation in that film at the end when he's in the office or like the library office. No, in Sinister. Bro, I almost had to leave the theater, man. I was so scared. Like I've never been that terrified of anything.
So I just solved how to make like every horror movie good. I think we just cracked that case. You just smoke first.
Yeah,
there it is. Ding, ding, ding.
I think that you have to watch a horror movie on your own. I think if you watch it with friends, it takes the edge off.
If you watch it with friends, I don't know, dude. I watched
you can watch it. Yeah, but that was you and your sister. It's different. It's not like
we're like the same person.
Yeah, like if I watched a horror movie with you,
right.
Not really too much horror.
Yeah, because we'll probably crack jokes at it. Yeah.
But if I watched it with Logan,
right.
Different story.
So
right?
okay,
different story altogether.
That's true.
Has your dog ever started randomly barking at something that's not there?
I would have left. If
all right. Oh, yo, check this out. Yes, it happens all the time.
Yeah, I've never seen him do it.
Me and him will sleep downstairs. Now, if you guys don't know, my downstairs is it's big. Right, it's a big downstairs, and when all the lights are off, when you're in the middle room, and then there's no door to that old studio room, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, why do you think there's curtains there? all of a sudden, I wake up in the middle of the night after falling asleep on the couch. My dog is barking towards the room, towards the old studio room. I wake up, I'm like, what are you doing? And he's barking over my head. Into that room.
Oof. You had your back.
And what do you do at that point?
You were sleeping with your back turned to that? You're bugging.
So what do you do at that point?
You
go back to sleep? You go upstairs or do you go check?
I go upstairs.
You pull that off there, I'm going to lose my mind, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
So you better just inch that way.
No.
Okay. They're in the same room, by the way, if you guys didn't figure that out.
What's going on, Enoch?
Hey,
what's going on, guys? Hey, man, sorry if my audio is not very good. I don't know. I'm in the car, but
I'm a huge fan.
I'm a huge fan. I can't. So I can't see who's in the room right now. But so you know what? I'm probably a huge fan of yours. Because
you're a fan of TY because he's been on your show. I've watched you before I joined the podcast. My name's Jack.
Hey, Jack. Nice to meet you, man.
Enoch. So did you say you saw this new Conjuring?
I have not seen the new Conjuring yet, but I mean, I know I'm going to like it. Dude, you know, it's funny. Like, I didn't grow up liking a lot of horror movies. I grew up with a couple of, I mean, I was a big Freddy fan when I was a kid, and I really liked werewolf movies. Like, I mean, I kind of lost my innocence to American Werewolf in London when I was like probably like 4 or 5 because it was on HBO and like I was not monitored.
Right.
But, so like there was stuff like that, but like I still to this day have never seen a Friday the 13th movie. Like
really?
I'm very aware. I'm very aware of the product. I'm very aware of like what happens in each movie. Yeah, but like I have not actually sat down to watch all of them. And honestly,
Freddy
it took my son. What? Yeah, well, Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, because I'm a huge Freddy fan. So I mean, like, I got grounded for a month, man. I got grounded for a month by my grandma sneaking out like that movie sucks, and I'm like, well, it was good enough for me to get freaking grounded when I was 13. So shut up. But no, you know what? When Tiffany and I started dating, I really started getting into like horror movies, and you know what movie did it for me? Like, started my whole thing was Paranormal Activity.
Hey,
that movie gets a lot of crap. I think that it doesn't deserve. That first one especially gets really in your head if you watch it and you just pay attention to it. It uses some cinematic tricks of like constantly going back to that one static shot over and over again. And so your body starts, by the time the end of the movie comes, your body, even though there's not a lot that happens, your body is anticipating it. And you hear like the music swell, you know, just that sound. It's not even music. It's just that swell of sound. And so you feel like something's going to happen. And so that movie I still to this day, I can't sleep with, if my leg is out from underneath my covers. I don't care how hot it is, me and my wife both, like my leg is going right back under the covers because I just imagine so like funny. You know, but it's like those stupid things that get in your head. But yeah, I mean, like then I just started getting into horror movies, and my son Landon, like literally like 5-6 years ago when we moved into our new house, you know, he had his own room for the first time. And he was like, what was he? He's 16 now. So he was like 9 or 10. And he was so scared of the dark, guys. Like, I mean, I can't even explain to you how scared of the dark it was. Like, and I would have to, like, I would literally have to argue with the kid to get him to shut up and just go to bed because, like, he was like, I don't want to be here. And like, and he loves me. He's like, you know, attached to my hip, but he'd be like, I don't want to be here. I want to go to my mom's house and stuff. And I'm just like, dude. And I sat him down one night and I was like, listen, man, here's the thing, dude. One day you're going to love this room. You're going to absolutely love it. And I'm like, you're going to look at it as your sanctuary, and you're just going to love the fact that you have your own bedroom to go into and just get away from everybody. And I said, there's even going to be times, dude, where you're going to like turn off all the lights and you're just going to sleep. And like, you know, you're just going to be about it. And he's like, no, Dad, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. I'm never going to do that stuff. And so then it was funny because it wasn't maybe a year or two later when the movie It came out. The first one.
Oh, wait, Tim Curry?
No, he's talking about the new one.
The new one. Okay.
The new one, yeah. And so it was so funny because Landon, for some reason, he saw the trailer to It. And that just like did something to him. And like he was really intrigued by it. I think it was probably the kids and just everything, you know, that had to do with it. And so he really wanted to see it. So my wife and I went and saw it. And then he came to me and he's like, Dad, can I see It? And I'm like, well, it's like, dude, you know, like you're scared
I'd show it to my kid.
I'm like, dude, you're scared of a lot of stuff. Yeah. Like you're scared of a lot of stuff, man.
Can't sleep already.
And he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, Dad, I really, really want to see it. You know, he's like, it just looks really intriguing to me and stuff. He's like, I'm just really curious. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't feel that there's anything in the movie that, you know, there's like not a reason you can't. I just like, I know that you're scared of stuff, you know. And he's like, well, Dad, I really want to see it. So I was like, okay, man.
Let's do it.
And I'm glad that I did because he saw the movie It, and it was like this light switch turned on in him, and now he is a horror movie junkie. That kid immediately, like, he came home and he was like, Dad, can we watch all the Chucky movies? I was like, yeah, because I had never actually watched all of the Chucky movies, and so we sat down and like literally it was like our family movie night. We like literally watched every Chucky movie there was. And then he's like, Dad, can we watch Nightmare on Elm Street? So then we watched every Nightmare on Elm Street. Like we just started going through, I'm surprised we just haven't got to, you know, Friday the 13th yet. But,
Enosh, so have you ran through Halloween yet?
No. We have not gone through Halloween with our kids.
Dude, big Halloween fan.
When you see Rob Zombie's reboots, he made 2 parts. When you see those, you come back and you come talk to us because I need somebody to talk to about with those movies because they're so. Oh God, you're gonna love them.
He likes them. So Justice likes them. I don't like them.
They're so good. I know we've had that conversation.
Gotcha.
So
Enosh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I might be about to make a fool of myself, but because we're talking about stories, you might have mentioned this on Point Extra Lounge, and I might be mixing you up with another YouTuber. I was pretty sure you had said that you were a pastor or are a pastor, or
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
Really?
do you have any stories being a pastor that was kind of spooky? A parishioner comes to you and says, my lights keep flickering, or any stories like that?
Yeah, like I've encountered some weird stuff over the years. Like I was raised a little different than I am now. I was raised by like a Pentecostal style grandmother who was very much into like spiritual stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And I definitely believe in the in the spiritual realm, and I believe that stuff exists. I believe in angels. I believe in demons. I believe that there's stuff out there. I don't believe that it occurs as much as people would like it to.
Yeah.
Because there's that Hollywood element to it, you know, that it's like, they try to sell you on, this is like a common occurrence and stuff, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't let that real Annabelle doll in my house.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
Like,
I was mentioning earlier that like stories like that, my family's from Pakistan and East Asia, like people believe in the supernatural pretty openly. And I don't mean Christmas or, Easter.
Right.
I'm talking about like legit, like, oh, go see the shaman, go see, the witch doctor type of practice. And like it's accepted almost, and I'm like,
well, I do believe that there are things that attach themselves to to things like that, and I think so. I definitely think it's you got to be careful. Like when I bought my house, I mean, we went through our house and and prayed over it and and everything. I mean, it's like I don't get crazy with it, but I've seen some weird stuff. I've seen some people act in some weird ways. And then I heard you like talking about your dog freaking out. I think it was Utah.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, Tiffany and I were just sitting there in the living room, and like all of a sudden my dog Wookie just starts like looking into the our dining room, and like he's just staring, and he's like just on something, and I'm like, dude, I'm looking at the dog, and I'm like, are you okay? And he starts growling at it. And we're just sitting there like, what the heck? And like, there's nothing there. There's nobody in the house. There's no noises. There's no nothing. And like, he's zeroed in on something. And like, he started like inching forward towards it. And then like, he got all the way to the edge. Cause it's like our living room ends at our dining room. And there's like a step down into it. Cause the dining room is tile and the living room is carpet. And so there's like a step down into it. And like, he got like right up to that edge. And like he was just like tracking something, and then all of a sudden, like he like kind of whimpered away.
Oh.
And I was just
no.
like a dear God, hey, please be with us.
They say that how like dogs have like a super sense of smell.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for like a sense of awareness and sense of things around
surroundings,
them.
right?
Yeah, I believe it.
Right. So let me ask you this to bring it back to the movie. So as a pastor, but I'm assuming also a man of reason.
Yes.
Do you believe that that kind of defense belongs in our court system? The way it is, the way we have our legal system set up
with the new movie and everything. Yeah,
right.
You know what? Like that's one of the reasons why. By the way, I'm being tailed by a state trooper right now. So if I have to let you go, you just know.
All right.
But we're all good so far. But like I know I got a tail light that's broken out. So we'll see what he does.
I would love to get him pulled over. No, I don't get pulled over, but imagine he got pulled over while we were on the show. It'd be so weird.
Right. But no. So,
are you doing a stream tonight?
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Yeah, I'm sure I will.
Good to know.
But I'll send you a link. But so you know what? So I don't know. Oh, good. He's going around me. Awesome. I don't know if that's a real hard one because, like I said, I've seen some weird stuff where I do believe that there's been some people who are possessed, and I do believe that there is that extreme kind of thing. And then, okay, so here's another thing though, because I was raised by my grandmother for a reason. My mom was diagnosed paranoid, schizophrenic, manic depressive. She was addicted to a lot of different drugs, alcohol. She was kind of in and out of our family so many times and stuff. And I've seen that woman do stuff that's like supernatural. Like seriously, like I've seen her. Like one night I saw it. We were driving home, and this is just kind of weird stuff. But like I saw my mom drop kick a woman in a bar parking lot. Like we were just driving past, and like just ran and leaped into the air. And this little woman, I mean, like she could not do any of that stuff. Right. And we're driving past and we see her literally jump up in the air, drop kick this woman in the head.
Oh my God.
And we're like, oh my God, what was that? And then my buddy goes, that's your mom. And I went, what? And so like they called the cops on her. And so my mom, we didn't know where she was staying at the time because she would it was really weird. Like talk about like weird kind of like possession stuff. Like we didn't know where she was. But like she was living in abandoned houses with people and stuff. And I mean, like it was strange. So like they asked us to follow her so that like we could see where she was going because we didn't know where she's going. And I swear to God, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm glad my friend Rusty was there to witness it with me so that I have a witness that was with me. But I saw my mom, who was probably like 5'1", 5'2", and maybe weighed like 130 pounds at the time. She was walking. She was screaming into the night. I mean, she was just, dude, it was literally like a movie, man. Like, but my mom just suffered from a lot of different things. Mm. And she was screaming out like at people and things that weren't there and stuff. And then all of a sudden, you know how like you have those big boulders that people put in front of their house, you know, as decoration and stuff?
Yep.
She comes up to this house that has this boulder there that's been there for God knows how long, right? I mean, it's been in front of these people's house. She reaches down and picks this thing up.
Wait. If you had to guess, give me how much it weighed.
Well, I will just tell you this because I'm getting there. So she picks this thing up with her arms around it, and like I wish you could see me right now because like she literally puts her arms around this thing, and then like she kind of stands there for a minute, screams, and then throws it back down.
Oh
right now, mind you, so me and Rusty are walking quite a distance behind her to try to like so she doesn't really know that we're there. Yeah, and so we get up there and we figure, well, okay, when we get up to the boulder, we'll just put it back, right? Mind you, I weighed like 220 at the time, and I'm 6'1", and my buddy Rusty is about the same. We get up to this thing. First of all, that boulder had been in that ground. That ground all around it was kind of like built up around, where the rock had been. So there was almost like a hole where it had been, which is really hard to do to get something out of that anyways.
Absolutely.
And Rusty and I could not pick this thing up together and put it back.
Oh my God.
Where it went. So
it was pretty huge.
Like I can't even tell you how much this thing must weigh. And if you had just told me that story, I'd have been like, no, whatever. Right. Sure.
Well,
whatever.
No, so that's the thing though, right? That brings me to 2 points. One, it's said a lot. You hear this a lot, like at the gym and stuff. It's really more often than not. It's not that you can't lift it. It's your mind getting in the way. Like how strong you actually are is at least 3 times what you think it is. If I had to like throw a number on it, if you can get that mental point, and that's proven with people with autism, right? Or cases like he just said, where there's drugs involved or mental illness to begin with, and your
mind's not in the way. You're not thinking.
Yeah, your mind's not even capable of doing such a thing. You see it in videos, police videos of people high on PCP, and they take 4 tasers, 8 bullets, and a baton beating from 3 different Marines, and he's still bucking and going. I've seen videos of dude literally take 3 bullets to the chest and keep it pushing. And he broke a windshield and he like lifted a car up and he's like,
Second point is you just don't mess with women.
Right.
Don't mess with women.
Bro,
so that goes back to the point that you were asking me, like, do I believe that it should be a defense? Like I think more times than not that there's a mental component there. There's a mental issue there that people are seeing things, people are hearing things, and it's because they have a mental imbalance or whatever. And and I'll be honest with you, that's hard for a lot of people to accept. Like, I mean, I dealt with that a lot with my mom, obviously. My ex-wife, even, she went through a bout of depression. I mean, that's what led to us breaking up because she started off that it was just like she was depressed, it was almost like a postpartum kind of thing. And then like she would not get help because she was scared to take any kind of medication. She didn't want to admit that she had a problem. Many people tried to reach out to her and help her, and she just refused. And then it escalated. So then like she got violent one night, and that was when I was like, nope, you have to get help or else. And then she left. you know?
Right.
And so like, you know, like I hope the best for her one day, but she's had a lot of other issues that have manifested themselves. And so like, it's not like, and now a lot of it makes a lot more sense, you know, and, you know, I mean, and to be honest with you, like I'm, you know, like she made that decision, but like, there's many times where I look at it and I go, wow, like that was not the person that I married. That was not the person that I thought that I was involved with for, you know, I mean, like I was with her for like 13 years. I mean, I dated her for 3 years. I was married for almost 10. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, now I have this peaceful life with my wife, Tiffany, and my 3 boys. And it's like, whoa, you know, like, I'm glad that I wasn't involved in all that drama, but, but, you know, but like my heart goes out for people like that because, you know, there's just people who can't, I don't know, they can't help it, but yet they either they don't have the capacity to get help or they don't have people around who want to admit that they need help. I know people in my own family like looked at my mom and like when my mom, because my mom would be on medication and she'd be like, you could have a conversation with her sometimes, you know? But like if she was off her meds, man, you could not even have a conversation with her. You had no idea what you were going to run into. I saw my mom like go off on people and stuff like for stupid, crazy things. But I had family members. Though who would be like, oh yeah, you know, like, oh yeah, she has a problem and we need to figure this out, you know, and everything. And then something else would happen. And then it'd be like, oh no, well, she's just misunderstood and stuff, you know, and like they didn't want to admit that there was a problem there that really needed to be taken care of. So it's really finding the help that you need, you know?
Right. And that's what I was going to say. I think possibly a big part of why Homeboy said in his defense that it was a demonic presence rather than just claiming insanity, which is much easier to prove. I think a big part of it is what you just said. A lot of people don't want to admit it. And then things like medication get involved and things like therapy and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, I dated a therapist, right? Remember Renee? That said that on a regular basis, kids come in, high school or middle school kids come in, say they see the devil. The devil talks to them and tells them to do things.
That's schizophrenia.
And that she has to just, you know what I mean? That's not an uncommon thing. It's like, that's scary. That's scary. That's imagine.
Well, schizophrenia is not a joke. Paranoid schizophrenia is not a joke. It's very serious. And I can understand why people, you know, try to like deny it and fight it. But at the same time, I think like a severe paranoid schizophrenic isn't the type of person that would even, have that kind of thought, like denial, like, oh, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. You know what I mean? They're way too deep into that illness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Trust me, we experienced it, man. And like my mom was violent. I mean, like when I was 9, I mean, so like I came from a pretty crazy background. I had a great childhood because of my grandma, but like there were these pockets of time where like my mom would come around and like it would always start off fine and then it would end bad. You know what I mean? Like eventually. And like I had to pry my mom off my grandma with a baseball bat when I was 9. Wow. You know, and like when I was 11, my mom put me through the bathroom wall. I mean, like we literally had to fix the bathroom wall because she just got mad and like, I mean, because she had these bursts of strength and you couldn't do anything. So like when I see movies like that, you know, like that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like I said, I don't rule out the possibility of things being real like that, you know, because I do believe in that kind of stuff. But I think a lot of times, you know, especially when you're talking like court cases or like murder cases or stuff like that. I mean, look, people are looking for a way to try to prove their innocence, right? And you know, or not be held accountable or what.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
And okay, well, you know, the devil made me do it. You know, I guess, you know.
He said the line.
You know, he said the thing.
Listen, I said that thing. That was a thing.
Listen, you know, thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Listen, do you want to take the next? Yeah, it's about so we should have on it. If I'm being totally honest, we should have been done quite some time ago.
Yeah, I got to get going anyways. I just got home, but I saw you guys on, and so I didn't even expect to come on. But thank you guys for having me on. And
yeah. I sent you know, I sent you Justice's Twitter because he said to reach out to him.
Please.
We'll get maybe he can join the lounge sometime or something.
Yeah. I just if you could hit me up for a moment, I just wanted to have a quick talk with you. But thank you for coming on. Do you want to take the next 30 seconds to plug?
Hey, come on over to the Poindexter Lounge. Coming out, we have fun. We have a good time. You never know what's going to happen. We just chill. We play games sometimes. We talk about movie news. We talk about TV stuff. We talk about pop culture, kind of like what you guys do. And we always try to have a great panel of people and stuff. And it's just a lot of fun. So
it's always fun. It's such a supporting community.
My man. Listen, guys, that's another edition of Quick Dip. You guys pay attention. We'll be at Showcase on Friday doing a post show and then a live review of the movie.
Nope.
What do you mean?
It's a pre-show and then a review show.
That's what I just said.
No, you said a post show.
Excuse me. Thank you,
Grandma.
All right,
guys. Well, I'll let you guys finish up. But hey,
Enosh, have a wonderful night.
All right,
I'll see you later.
All right. Yep. All right.
My man.
Bye.
So, like I said, another edition of Quick Dip. And before I was corrected, thank you again for that. Appreciate that. We're doing a pre-show and then a post live review show of The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, this Friday, June 4th. So you make sure you check us out for that. Pay attention. You get us on Twitter. All of our information is in the description. Please. We finally got noticed by the algorithm. We finally got our watch time hours up thanks to you. So we are now ad friendly, and we also unlocked the ability to have members. So we got a couple of tiers, 3 tiers. You get the immaculate, the best one possible, the cheapest, and by far the flyest, the Big Drip Special. The second one is a Jack.
It's a Jack attack.
And then the third one is just because we're a PG show, I'm not going to get into it, but it's the TY, and I think you know what that means.
Yeah.
Boo. So get that Big Drip Special. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in for another.
You should always be promoting the tie because it's $9.99.
Yeah, I don't know. Big Drip Special, baby.
All the tiers are in one room right now.
So
I
come join us.
Him, I guess.
Come join us. You know what we do around here. You want to play the ads before we go?
No
ads tonight. I love you guys. Ads tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Pay attention for Jack. He's doing Jabbing with Jack on a regular basis. Austin's been streaming Fortnite.
Is here. I love hanging out on the nails. Oh God, Jesus.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Jesus, why you gotta say stuff like that, man? All right. Yeah.
That's not Jesus. That's Jesus.
All right, guys. With that, like you said, all that stuff, and Jabbing with Jack tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Be there, be square, or just don't go.
Hang up.